Hello, fellow mobsters. Well, I think most of you there that attended the last rally know who I am. I'm a nurse. I own Lorimer Home Care and Staffing in Old Forge. I've never been involved with politics as much as I have in the past year and a half. And my business was part of the reason, because once I did start getting involved, a couple things happened that, well, let's say I wasn't too happy about. But I'm not going to stop speaking. I'm going to continue what I'm doing. And I think you, I, and all of our children are worth it. One thing that I think that this administration is trying to use is the layperson's inability to understand what happens when it comes to insurance, what happens when it comes to all of your medical bills, how they work, and what they're really all about. Let me just give you one example of President Obama's statements so that you kind of know how far-fetched it actually is. First, he stood up and said that doctors will take out children's tonsils to make an additional buck. Now, all you mothers out there know that ain't true. How many mothers do we have here that were told that their children's tonsils would not be taken out unless they were so severe that they had gotten at least 3 to 5 infections within a 4-month period? There you go. Let me give you one other example of President Obama's knowledge on the subject. He stood up at a town hall and said that rather than doctors treat a diabetic's sugar and insulin intake to control any wounds or anything they might get, control their sugar, control their diet, he would rather, doctors would rather amputate their feet. Now, I'm sorry, but first of all, the primary physician doesn't make the money on a surgery of amputating the foot, okay? Secondly, they do everything possible to prevent that from happening. So these are the people that you are going to have running your health care. They don't even know how doctors go about doing their own job, let alone doing theirs. Now, let me give you some information about home health. Every home health company in America has to send a form that is 25 to 30 pages thick of a checkoff list to OASIS, which in turn is sent to Medicare. What is this for? It tells the Medicare what you need, every single thing about your health. This is already being done, okay? Don't let them fool you. Make sure you're educated in these areas. You are on Medicare or Medicaid. You have to get approved for visits. How do you think they do those approvals? Those approvals are done by sending in all your health information. So these guys up on the hill are trying to bamboozle you because you don't understand what it is behind the scenes and all the paperwork that actually does go into home health right now. And actually, it's part of the problem. You ask any nurse, any doctor, how they have to deal with the government today and what the problem actually is and what the costs are generated from. I'll tell you what the increased rising costs in healthcare are generated from. Government mandates.
Yeah, yeah.
Construction too. Government mandates that insurances have to cover mammograms for women from 40 on every year. Now, I agree that that's an important step for women. Don't get me wrong. But this is the reason that the insurance companies jack up their prices, because then they have to pay for these. They're mandated by the government to do it. The government's saying insurance is getting too expensive, and it's a big circle jerk. And they think we're all idiots. Do they understand that American people actually live, work, and die in this country? I mean, who do they think we are that we don't understand these concepts? And if anybody else wants to know information on medical care or insurance, please feel free to call me. I'm in the book, and I'll be walking around giving my information out for anyone who's interested. The other problem I have with the statements being made by this administration is that when the elderly get up and say, hands off my Medicare, but they're against socialized medicine. So he tries to make you think that the elderly are stupid, that they are involved in a socialized program already, but yet they say they don't want a socialized program. Well, excuse me, but did anybody ever hear of 65 Special? Do they not understand that Medicare is not the only form of insurance that the elderly utilize in addition to their Medicare benefits? AARP, anyone? This is the reason that Americans are standing up and are angry, because we are not stupid. We understand how it works. We have read the bills. Now for the healthcare outrage. You guys all mad?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm mad too. And I've been mad. We, the American people, stood together when President Bush decided to come up with some bailout that we didn't want. What did the American people do? We called our congressmen, we called our senators, we shut down the White House phone system. What did they do? They voted for it. Did they listen to the American people? No. So then Obama comes out and does his own bailout again. Again, the American people rally together, call the offices, shut down the White House phone system, go to their district offices, write letters, write emails. Did they listen to us?
No.
What happens when the people are speaking and the government isn't doing what they're telling them to do?
They send out Acorn and their union thugs.
Well, that didn't work, what we were doing. So we held tea parties. We got people out on the streets because you know what? The media wasn't reporting that we wrote our congressmen, called their offices, and shut down their phone systems. So we brought it to the streets and told them exactly what was happening and made them report on it. The media and the government have become so corrupt that people are out in the streets yelling at the top of their lungs what is going on to make sure that your neighbor down the street isn't sitting there at his TV watching it saying, what's wrong with the people of this country? Don't they care? Yes, we care. But nobody's telling you it. Now we're telling them. Now we're not angry. We're voicing our concerns. I don't understand how they can call us mobsters and Nazis. I don't see any Nazi signs here. Does anybody have a Nazi sign here that I should know? Although I'm sure one of the Acorn people will dress up as you and bring their own just to make their point across that we're as bad as they say we are.